Well, hello, 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 fellow addicts. Welcome back to Addicts Live. Because playing and reading a blog about a silly game wasn't enough. Now we make you watch and listen to us for an hour of talking about a silly little game. I'm Melissa, your resident head addict, and my co-host this week is the one, the only cranky old guy, aka Patrick.
Mostly not cranky these days, but you know, there's a few things that people have picked up on that I'm cranky about. But we'll get into that later on.
I think these days
I'm trying to be like the nice guy. Yeah, you are. You're way crankier than I am these days. Yeah, it's like something is morphed over. Every live event, I push a little more of my crankiness your way. You grab it. By the way, nice hair. Everybody, Thanks. If you didn't notice her new haircut, then you're not paying attention. But as a father of 5 and a husband, etc., I see these things. So it frames your face nicely, don't you think? Yes.
Thanks. Yeah, it desperately needed a haircut.
I got a haircut too, but as my running joke is when my wife says, "Did you get a haircut?" I say, "No, I got them all cut." I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, I haven't had a haircut in probably like 9 months, so it was time. Desperately needed, but
there's that magic number, 9 months.
Yeah, right. But with only doing the show once a month in the summer months, it helps. I have more free time on the weekends.
There you go.
You'll notice Wook is not here today. Wook is at the House of Mouse this week, so hopefully we'll catch him one of these days. And Super Saffy is away on business again. From the sound of it, he has an insane travel schedule the next few weeks, but we will be starting the newest bracket battle in the coming weeks, so look out for that. And yes, Safi will be doing it. He'll be back with plenty of time to do that. He's got it all worked out. And I do also think we'll get Saf back for some Addicts Live in July. So now it's time for your regular reminder for those watching this live. This is meant to be interactive. So share your questions and comments below and join in on the fun. So Pat, it's been a few weeks. It's been a few weeks since we've gotten together. So we've got a lot to talk about.
Yes, so much has happened. So much.
So we should get started, huh? First up, Father's Day is tomorrow. So we themed this episode's question with that in mind. So please take a moment to answer the thought-provoking question below us here, which is, in honor of Father's Day tomorrow, which TV dad, cartoon or not, would you most like to have for a dad and why? We'll share your answers and ours later in the show. But for now, let's dive into the latest event in Springfield, Itchy and Scratchy Land. Scratch the surface, shall we? All right, Pat. Last time we talked, it was before the event hit. We knew it was going to be Itchy and Scratchy Land, but we didn't really know. Well, right. We knew more than we could say we knew, but we didn't really know how it would all work, what would happen. We thought it was going to be this spectacular event we were all excited about. So, initial impression. Now that we're 1.5 acts in, your initial impressions.
Well, gosh. There's bits and pieces of this that didn't surprise me at all because, you know, even though we have this great new relationship with EA and we're all buddies, friends, big rabbit ears on that one. Boy, do they not test stuff, and boy, do they not think things through. So immediately, of course, you've got this giant, I can nuke, I can't nuke, the whole thing's nuked, blah, blah, blah. They give you all of this land, which turns out, when you really start looking at it, it's like half the size of everything else in Springfield. So this is the largest theme park in the history of mankind. It would be like, you know, if you were trying to keep it in scale to like Anaheim, yes. Disneyland would go down the entire West Coast or something, you know, in scale. But anyway, you get all this land, and then you've got all your stuff put in storage, and I get it. I totally understood the concept. So I was behind the concept of moving Krustyland into your Springfield because I never went there. I'm just like everybody else. I designed it. I was proud of my design. I'd go there once a month, maybe, you know, if I had to, if they forced me on one of the tasks, the daily tasks. But man, did they hose you. I mean, let's just leave it at that. There was no real clear way of making this thing work. I'm not even going to get into the item limit fiasco again because it's so frustrating. It's insane. I can't even place what I had before, let alone add anything new. And then good Lord, the lags, the bugs, the stuff. You kind of expect the EA bug fest to happen with every update. There's going to be a bug here, a bug there. They do fixes, they do whatever. But this is really been something. I mean, it's beyond. I could go on for hours. I won't.
Well, we'll get into some of those more specifically in a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, general impression. Gee, I'm glad I get to see Krustyland. It's fun. I go there. Everything works. I pop my balloons. I do all that stuff. That's not a metaphor, by the way. And you go. Sorry. Then then the rest of it is this really lackluster Itchy and Scratchy Land, which just doesn't cut it. It's if you compare the two, that's the thing that you can really do right away. You can look at your Krustyland and then look at what we have so far for Itchy and Scratchy Land. There's no decorations, there's no side stuff, there's no anything. It's just building a bigger ride.
It's a gate.
It's a gate with bigger rides. Okay. On that note, I pass it over to you. What do you think, Alyssa?
Well, it's no Bart Royale, so I'll give it credit for that. It automatically gets like a C+ because it's not Bart Royale.
Wow, you really hate Bart Royale.
I really did.
Wow. Okay, go ahead.
Before I share my opinions on Itchy and Scratchy Land, I need to point out. I just noticed this. Well, I noticed it earlier, but it didn't click in my pregnant brain. Pat, you're not wearing an Oregon hat. Well, you're not wearing a cranky old guy hat. I'll say.
Right. So this is. I was trying to see who would catch up on this. I've paid for the right to wear this hat. Oregon State's playing in the College World Series today, and I have 5 daughters, three of whom were ducks and 2 of whom were beavers. And so people always say, we have at the club, we're kind of split. There's a lot of beavers, a lot of ducks, and I catch a lot of grief when I go to reunions a lot when I wear my duck gear. But I say, look, I can root for whoever I want. I've paid tuition to both schools, which is way more than way more than a seat at the football game. Trust me.
You pay a lot of tuition.
Yes, a lot of tuition. So I can root for whoever I want, and I definitely root for Beaver baseball. They have a great team this year. Go Beavs! There we go. But I still have my duck swag on here.
He's half in uniform, half out of uniform.
That's kind of the way it is. What you don't realize is that most of the time when I'm wearing my duck gear, I actually have beaver underwear on. I just don't show people. Okay,
I'm glad you don't show us.
Yeah.
Not that kind of show.
All right. Well, I'm glad you caught that. All right.
It's not that kind of show.
No, it's not.
Okay, so my impression of Itchy and Scratchy Land, it's kind of mixed. Setting aside the bugs and all that other stuff, that's a whole nother category of things. But as far as the prizes and stuff are concerned, a lot of it played out how I thought it would, and a lot of it played out how I didn't think it would. What I mean by that is the go-kart track or the race car, the Injury 500, the log ride. I thought those would be a little bit more like the monorail, in that, yes, it's like the monorail in the sense you can build how you want to build it, but you can also ride the monorail. You can't ride these rides. I thought there would be an element where you could actually ride it and see it, go through. That's the way it was kind of explained to us in the description we got, the very brief description we got. So that's how I thought it would be. So I was really excited for that. It's not how it worked. They're kind of lackluster. I still like the idea of designing your own ride, but they're massive. Like it's hard to justify spending the amount of space dedicated to make a really cool, really big ride, because it's massive and there's a lot of things to put in your town. And
the amount of time. And that's a lot of grinding, yeah.
And for the first time ever, I'm going to say, and we don't have enough land to fit it all in. I never say that. But no, you think about it, you've got these huge rides, aside from Krustyland itself, but you have these huge rides they're putting in with all these elements, and you need to craft some of them in order to bump your amusement bonus up. But it's got you can't build it aside from the lag, but you can't build it the way you want to build it because it takes up way too much space. Like the scale of it is way off compared to other things. So that's my biggest gripe. But aside from that, I mean, it's a standard event. It's not awful. It's quick. It's easy. Yes, it's a grind. They're always a grind. One day EA will listen to us. One day. We'll see. One day they'll also learn to not put events at 10 a.m. on the East Coast. Not launch the second act because then the servers go down and people go crazy. But so yeah, that's kind of, I mean, your standard event, standard prizes, standard crafting. Crafting's a little lackluster, but I'm okay with that because I've never been a big fan of crafting to begin with. I do wish there were more physical decorations for Itchy and Scratchy Land, but I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to force you to kind of implement Krustyland into Itchy and Scratchy Land. There's a lot of stuff with Krustyland, so I get that. And there's more minor decorations coming in Act 3. So right now I'm gonna give it a soft B-, and we'll see.
Whoa! Whoa! You really hate that the Bart Royale, because I am giving this a solid D. There's too many bugs. There's not enough stuff to it.
I'm setting aside that's a separate issue. So I'm keeping that.
How can you do that? Anyway, the other part of that is that the concept of the crafting. This is, I've said this before a couple of times, but it's really appropriate. It's like winning an IKEA desk set or something, and then you have to craft all of the extra parts. Oh, you want a drawer? Okay, you have to craft the drawer. Then you have to put it together. Then you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, and the parts don't always fit, and everybody else is freaking out, and the red dots don't make this, da-da-da-da-da. It's like, all we're missing is a hex wrench. Just give me a hex wrench, and we can actually make this thing work. But
personally, I love IKEA furniture. It's like therapy for me to put it together. My husband will tell you, like, we buy things, I get excited because it's like I try to think of things to buy at IKEA so I can put it together because it's like therapy for me. It's like I like puzzles like that.
Mom's in the basement, folks. She won't be home all weekend long. She's down there making a desk. So.
Exactly.
All right.
But the reason I can put the bugs in a separate bucket, so to speak, is because
Bucket?
No, because the land grab bug would be happening even if this event wasn't going on. That's just an issue. The lag, the lag's a severe impact of this event, but I do think once this event is over, they'll fix it because the same thing happened with the monorail, and they were able to kind of correct it a little bit. But some of the other bugs would be present whether this event was going on or not. Being locked out of your game, rollback, all that stuff. That's part of the game in general. So I have to take it and to make them two separate things.
I really do think that there's a problem. There's an endemic problem with I've said this before, but it's their heritage code. Their basic code was not designed to handle this much animation, this much stuff going on. And it's really not as much a device or memory thing as it is their code being able to handle it on your machine. If you don't hold your cell phone, and if you're playing for 20 minutes, your phone actually heats up. I mean, it's blasting crazy processor speed. So that's a different kind of memory than just having storage memory. It's cache memory. It's a different thing. So that's device directed to a degree. But what's weird to me is that to that point, the problem has to do with the corners, and those corners that have the burning fire animation with the smoke going off. If you notice, or those of you that are at an item limit, the bugs that always happen first, or the weird ghosts that happen with display, have to do with the fountains and other things that are kind of ongoing, right? That's where you'll see suddenly 9 homers showing up in the corner is where a fountain was. This is the same. Yeah, they are. They're hilarious. But this is the same thing. If you like in my situation, I've got 2 loops in a run. I've got 9 or 10 corners in there. So that's a lot of animation for that thing to handle, plus the thing going around. It's like they have 2 different design teams, and the guys go, "This sounds so cool," and the guy in the meeting go, "That's going to be cool, and everything's going to be great," and then they design it, and then they plug it in, And the guys on the back end that have to make it scale, that actually have to make the thing scale, are like not showing up for the meeting. And then they go, oh, okay, we'll put it in there. I don't know. It's not tested. This is not tested to scale at all. And what's funny, I think the tip-off for me is if you go to your other Springfield, those are like test sites. Those are like test games that the programmers are using, right? If you go to those things, they're so barren. They're so basic. It's like, oh, this is how we're supposed to play the game? I don't think so. So maybe theirs works. I don't know. But it sure doesn't work in a regular town. Anybody's playing for 3 to 4 or 5 years.
So yeah, I mean, the lag is a big issue with this one. We're going to talk about this a little bit later, but we'll talk about it now.
Okay.
So the title of this episode, if you guys noticed, is meant to be funny play on the Itchy and Scratchy theme song, but it's really not a laughing matter. I mean, this event is riddled with all kinds of lag and drag. And I, like I said, we've seen this before. This happened with the monorail. I mean, I don't know if who remembers with the monorail, you put the monorail tracks in water and you had all kinds of issues with your game, things like that. Those have all since been corrected. So I do think that these issues will get corrected once the event's over. I think a lot of it has to do with the initial programming of the specific event.
I was hoping they'd fire Bob. No, it's just like, it always feels to me like they've got one guy that gets this stuff, right? And it's like programmer Bob. And Bob is the guy that's just in the corner, and he shows up and he goes, I can fix that. And then he ends up fixing it. But my hope is that because this team is clearly not very large anymore, I hope they didn't fire Bob. I mean, he fixed the monorail thing. He'll know how to fix this. I hope they didn't fire him at some point, move him on to some other EA game. Yeah. Anyway, I'm making Bob up, just so you know. I don't really know Bob.
His name is really Raul.
Yeah, there we go. It's Raul, of course it is.
So yeah, the lag is an issue. It's a problem. A lot of players are complaining about it, and it can be very annoying. Some devices are worse than others. Obviously, if you have an older device, it's going to have more of an issue because as the game evolves and more stuff is added and more they do more things, the older device you have is not going to be able to handle the event. As an example, and I was telling Pat this earlier, I used to play this game on an iPad, the original iPad, like without a camera on it, the original iPad.
So the one you had to crank, right?
Yeah, exactly. Crank it. So when Krustyland hit, all of a sudden I couldn't play it on my iPad anymore because it couldn't handle the content of the game. And that's what happens. Now, obviously an iPad 1 is pretty far outdated, but at the time when Krustyland hit, an iPad 1 wasn't that far outdated. It's just as technology evolves, they change things in the game to adapt to that technology, and older devices can't necessarily handle it. So older devices are going to have more lag, more issues than newer devices. That's not to say that newer devices aren't having the same issues. Newer devices are having the issues as well. Not as prevalent, though. A lot of people, was the Injury 500 that was causing the issue. If you took out one piece of the track, it corrected the problem. Some of those people now have the same issue with the log ride. If you take out one piece of the log ride, it'll correct the lag problem. But some people, as an example, Ebron, and I know she hates when we use her as the archetype.
Sorry, yeah,
she exactly. Is. So, but Ebron mentioned that she stored most of her Injury 500. I think she just has the one section out still, but none of it's animated. But her log ride, she's able to connect perfectly and have it animated all the time and has no lag. So it's mixed results that everybody's getting.
Again, my suggestion is to take Ebron's lead. We'll have to come up with a different tag for her because she does get embarrassed. But anyway, the log ride, if you notice, again, going back to the animation thing, does not have running animation as much as the corners that are on fire and the whole thing. So that will work. That will eliminate a ton of animation sitting in one zone. And I think that's probably what it is, a zone problem. It's why you'll see one fountain going wacky if you're up to, near your item limit, and the other fountains are just fine, and then you add one thing or move one thing and your fountain starts working again. It's a zone thing. So this whole thing is divided into grids, and the current grid is overloaded when you've got that Injury 500 going. So whether it will be the same after the event, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. I do think they'll make some of those corrections. I think the Injury 500 may have some different animations to it once the event's over. It's probably easier to code that into the event removal code than it is to code it into just patching it right now.
Right.
That's my guess.
So only 5.5 weeks more, folks. No problem.
But yeah, there are a ton of bugs going on right now. You have that. You had the land grab one, which is and this one's very annoying because you can accidentally pick something up now with your game. If you hold something, just hold the screen too long, it'll go into move mode and it'll select something, and then you have that massive freeze because it's selecting road as well. So you can correct that by hiding your roads when you go into move, or your roads, your rivers, your pavement, everything. That does correct that issue, but that's a big issue. It's very annoying. Very annoying.
And that only came in. Yeah, that only came in. This is the thing I don't understand. Again, I'd love to sit in on these meetings, these design meetings, if they have them, because that came in actually when they added the ability to grab everything, and that was before this event. So my thinking was that was probably instituted because they knew we were going to do the big, giant, itchy and scratchy move, so they wanted to make it easy to move stuff. Well, okay, they broke it. Before that happened, you couldn't grab land and everything else before, and it worked fine. They broke the system basically by trying to be helpful. So I feel bad for whoever came up with that. Maybe this is Bob, and Raul is over there saying, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. Anyway,
saying, "Damn it, Bob!"
That's right. Damn it, Bob! You always break the game. Anyway, the bottom line is, yeah, you have to deselect land and water, which is an easy one-click thing. But if you forget, yeah, you're going to wait for 35, 45, 55, 2 minutes, or your game will freeze completely and die.
Yes.
So yeah, just be careful. Yeah, it is definitely sucks.
So yeah, but listen, guys, in the scheme of things, this game has been going on for 6 years, almost. Well, actually, probably, 6 years. It stopped, and then it came back almost 6 years ago. So we've experienced, if you've been playing for any length of time, you've experienced things far worse than this. Trust me. So
I think Fred said that he actually started in June when it first came out, and it was he just mentioned that his 6-year anniversary was this last week, and I was like, wow, you win, because I didn't start till October. But the brain damage that people went through in that first incarnation that they pulled out, it was tragically flawed. It was absolutely a mess. So, and even back when it did come out, it was not unusual to have a server go down for 4 days. It's like, oh, okay. That's what we do. That's what we do in this game. 4 days.
There was that. There was the Harper Death glitch. There was Android users when it first came out to Android users got locked out for months. And I mean months. So, and there's always been some wrinkle in every aspect of this game, but I can tell you that it's always gotten corrected, except for this rollback glitch, which really bothers me that this hasn't been fixed. But it's always been corrected. It's always been fixed. And then there's a period of time where there's no issues. I mean, it wasn't, a year ago that we were saying, remember the spy event? We were saying, look at all this animation and there hasn't been any issues with the game. Wow. So
yeah.
It gets fixed and then there's a good period. So you just got to ride it out. I know, in this day and age, everybody's instant gratification, and it sucks when your game freezes or your game locks you out, or, I get it. But either step away for a little bit of time, try to come back later and see if it's corrected or not, or stick with it, because we've been doing this. I wouldn't be doing this for as long as I've been doing this, almost 6 years, almost 5 years blogging, but almost 6 years playing. If I gave up every time there was a little snafu in the code.
Right. It is a device thing to a degree, in that some of these things appear to be worse in Android, and et cetera, et cetera. To EA's credit, and anybody that's doing a mobile device game, you have to program to 4 different types of devices, and that's tough. And it's not easy. The iWorld is different than Kindle, which is different than BlueStacks. The BlueStacks world I've never touched, haven't even tried.
It's Android.
Android. So it's just Android on a computer. But again, at that point, there's an interface with how good is the internal cache on your computer. I'd be curious to know, and this might be a poll that we do, if you're having, lag issues, these lag issues, what device do you play? I'd be curious to see if there's any kind of this is what EA should have been doing a while ago, but if there's any kind of a correlation between BlueStacks versus, an updated Android versus whatever. But anyway, again, I'm not having problems with lag except for the land grab thing. And I've got 2 new iDevices. I mean, they're 3 months old, 4 months old, something like that. I don't know, whatever.
All right, so let's step away from the bugs.
Okay, stepping away from the bugs.
We'll bust out our pesticide. Quickly, let's just kind of compare what we know right now, Act 1 prizes versus Act 2 prizes. Which prize track do you think was better? Act 1 prize track or Act 2 prize track?
Well, 2, because you actually end up with an actual character. I mean, the Bort thing is hilarious. I mean, that it's one of those things that I complain all the time that a lot of the characters they bring in before they bring in Sarah Wiggum are like people that showed up on screen for 5 seconds, and Bort might have 15 seconds of the actual event, but it is a funny joke. I mean, the joke is a funny joke, and so you'll see that when the the item limit post I did, I actually grabbed that. But you should go watch the episode if you haven't watched the episode.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows Bort. That was the one thing everybody asked when they found out it was Itchy and Scratchy Land. Everybody said, "Are we going to get a Bort license plate?" So
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, here's the other thing though that I don't like is that again, it's like in the prizes they're doing. I don't know. This isn't bad. I haven't gotten the parade roller yet. I'm very close to getting it. I'll get it this weekend. So I don't know if the animation is worthwhile. It seems like it's going to be funny. Hopefully it doesn't freeze. Hopefully it doesn't freeze the screen.
No, I mean I did it in my B game. It does, it takes a little while if the NPCs are in a different part of town. It takes a little while for them to come back to the roller to come to the parade. But I haven't really tested to see if it stays on a path or not. Right now, where it is in my B town. My B town truly is Plopperville. Just throw stuff down because I don't care. But it's
that's your testing area.
Exactly. So it just kind of went along a path on the grass, but it had a direct path. So I'm just wondering if you had Krustyland roads down, if it would follow those or not, which would make it a lot better because then it would definitely stay. I feel like if it rolls around all through Springfield, it's kind of stupid. If it stays on a specific path, like your street cleaner, for some reason, always ends up gravitating towards the dirt, even though it can go on regular roads. If this is one of those things that always gravitates toward Krustyland roads or Krustyland paths, that would be good because then you can, kind of keep it in a direct path.
I ended up getting rid of any dirt paths for that exact reason. It just irritated the heck out of me. What's interesting, though, historically, circuses, when they came to town, of course, used to send out a circus parade, which is what this is kind of based on. And it was a preview to get people to go to the circus so that the parade would be somewhere else in the town. So that doesn't really bother me so much historically. It is weird. It is weird to have the Itchy and Scratchy mascots roaming all over heck. I mean, they're everywhere. You can't control them, and you can't store them and bring them back. They're all over the place. But it is weird. I mean, again, since we've brought Krustyland into our realm, there's some weird stuff that goes on, but we'll live with it. But as far as to your point, I think these prizes are okay. They're all right. They're interesting. They're better than the first go around. I'm kind of burned out on the land tile being a prize and the crafting currency being a prize. I mean, crafting currency is easy to get. I'd rather have something else than crafting currency.
I'd rather just have 2 less prizes, quite honestly.
Yeah, well, it's just lazy again. It's the ELP, condition again. It's lazy.
But I get the land token because that's the only way you can get land now. So I get that. But I will definitely say, unlike most events, where most events Act 1 prizes are really good, Act 2, it's like you go here with Act 1, here with Act 2, and then Act 3 comes back up here. This one, Act 1 kind of started here. Act 2 moved it up, and I think Act 3 will go a little higher. Act 2 prizes are definitely better than Act 1, which is rare. I mean, in Act 1, let's face it, you got a helicopter that went up in the air and came back down. You got a really itty bitty, teeny tiny statue. And then you got a nurse's station, which was the crafting item anyway. And then you got Diane, who half people don't remember who the heck she was. So actually, three-quarters of the people didn't remember who she was. So this is definitely better because, one, everybody knows Bort. Two, the parades are fun, even though they're kind of like overall lackluster in what they are. Like, they're not like a great building or a great decoration, but they're still fun. It's two different types of parades. Plus, you get NPCs with them, which some people love NPCs. So that's fun. And then what was the first prize? The first prize was the log ride.
Yeah, the log ride itself.
Act 2 prizes are definitely better. And I think Act 3 prizes will be a little bit better than that. Nothing in this event is like Christmas. Nothing in this event is like, whoa, you know?
No.
No. But it's a typical event. It's a summer event. So we'll keep it at that.
Actually, I'm jumping ahead. I'll stay on task. I'm jumping all over the place here. I'm actually excited about something else that's coming up.
We'll get to that in a minute.
I know. I'm horrible.
So let's take a minute to just talk about some design issues people are having, because now while you did get all the land from Krustyland, it doesn't necessarily translate the same way over to Springfield, depending on how you use it. Some people are mad that they didn't realize that you should have bought all the land before you nuked, and then you would have gotten the land tokens. And I get that. Totally understand that.
Some people did rent our post.
Oh, that. My post telling you to do that was literally up the second. Actually, I think it was up before it even hit the App Store. I think it was up.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, you had a week, folks. You had a week to figure it out. Believe it or not. Sorry.
So it's becoming a problem though, because it's hard to fit everything into your Springfield. Figure out how you want to design it. I will say that that Pat shamed me into designing my town a little bit better, because he did use my town as an example of a don't know what to do plopper person. Not.
I didn't label you though. I did not reveal you.
No,
you're outing yourself here.
But taking my car? Mm-hmm. Okay. Sorry. Hold on 2 seconds. Talk to everybody back.
Hi everybody. This is like when my wife Deb comes into the frame unannounced. Oh, and there we go. That's not my wife Deb. That's husband Andrew.
So yeah, what was I talking about? Oh, so the design issues. So yeah, Pat shamed me a little bit into that. So I spent some time. My biggest issue was I didn't know what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it. I had over 100 land tokens, and I didn't know. I was afraid to spend them, quite honestly, because I'm somebody who's very like type A when it comes to my Springfield. My Springfield needs to be rectangular at all times. It could be square, but it needs to be squared off. I can't have like random pieces sticking out. It bothers me. So I was afraid to use them. You know, I was afraid to figure out exactly what I wanted to do because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So once I got shamed, I kind of was like, all right, I guess I should figure this out. So I bought 4 strips. I think I bought 4 strips of land off to the opposite of the ocean. And then I kind of moved things around. I put my F-Cot up there. But I still haven't designed Itchy and Scratchy Land because I don't know. I know what's coming, but I don't know how it's gonna work. So I don't know what I'm gonna want in my town, what I'm not gonna want in my town. So if you're like me and you're afraid to design until everything's said and done, then you can figure out a good plan. That's why my recommendations are always wait to design. But if you're like Pat, who threw everything in his Springfield immediately, and then gets hit with items,
yes.
You know, I mean that's a whole nother thing though. But it is a conundrum though, because some people know exactly what they want to do, and some people are waiting to find out what happens, what comes in, how it works, how it's going to play, and then specifically how it's going to fit, because a lot of stuff isn't to scale.
Well, here's the thing. Those of us that design and like to design and actually play the game because you can design, that is why I play the game. That's it. That is it. I like the events. I like the fun, blah, blah, blah. I'm not like the have to get the next thing right now kind of person. I've never really been into percentages and any of that stuff. I design. That's what I like to do. I love making this town. And there's lots of us out there. And, of course, we have the gold standard of Ebron. But many of us are the same way. And so the inequity of how we got double tagged on this event just still isn't fair to me. If you didn't get enough items to at least be able to bring in what you had already designed in your actual original Krustyland, you are penalized right away. I still have 700 items in storage that I cannot place that used to be in Krustyland. So that's a huge penalty right there. I couldn't even just make it the same. Now, the turnaround on that is that we can now use all kinds of things from our regular Springfield. We can mix and match. So I've got water and I've got all kinds of things in my Krustyland, which was fun. So I was actually, obviously, for the first week, just dive headlong into, oh, this is cool. I can make this over here. I can move this over here. I can make this thing. It's, totally cool. And then, boom, the item limits. So I'm not going to beat the item limits up. I've done that in print 100 times. Boy, do they have to figure this out. It is really annoying. And you shouldn't have to keep doing what Ebron and other people are having to do, which is to wipe out whole sections of design. She was telling me in an email that she's back to 11,300. That means she had to wipe out a ton of stuff. She brought some stuff back in annotated form. She brought her England back. She brought some stuff back. But it is a crime to have to keep using the same palette over and over and over again, simply because they don't raise the limits to something reasonable. And the fact that they keep raising it is the galling point. It's like if they just said, look, this is as big as it's ever going to get. Live with it. You can almost live with it. They keep raising it. And it's 200, 500, 200, 700. It's not like they can't do it. Just do it.
I thought you were going to vent about the item limits, Pat.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, so yes, design-wise, it is a problem. And I think, again, we've really seen two completely different kinds of players. Those that really are more excited about the next thing and don't take the time to design, and those that really love designing. And it's, boy, talk about two camps that are wide apart after this event. This is it. You're going to go in and see people that haven't done anything, and some people are just getting by to get to the end. My concern is there is no end anymore. There's no downtime. There's no design time anymore. The minute we're done with this one, we'll be on to something else. So don't wait. Yeah. Don't wait too long. Don't wait too long.
Oh, I will.
You're going to wait, aren't you?
Listen, I redesigned that whole area. I moved my Cypress Creek, and I made it smaller, compact, but nicer.
There you go.
Moved my my Woodstock area. Listen, I'm all right. I got no complaints.
All right. I didn't really call you out. You're
No, you didn't. You didn't, but it shamed me a little bit.
Okay.
All right, let's get to a couple of comments here. Jack says, whilst the lag is annoying, I just count myself lucky I didn't suffer from the rollback glitch. I can remove a bit of track on my rides, and it fixes the problem. The best part of this event for me has been totally redesigning my Krustyland. I am pretty close to the item limit, so I'm hoping I can get it all done before I have to start storing stuff. Hope all the fathers out there have a happy Father's Day tomorrow. Let's see. Amy says, I am thrilled that we are getting Bort as a character, as well as Itchy, Scratchy, and June Bellamy as characters. Well, I'm really enjoying the event so far. I'm finding the toughest thing is to try to reach the percentages for the Itchy and Scratchy Land gate I already bought. I'm at 29%. The craftables are kind of meh, and they don't really excite me too much. Other than that, I'm really enjoying the event so far.
Can I just, that's one of those things that I have to ask a question. And I'm not picking on her at all. It's the concept of people that are obsessed with the percentage, which makes sense, I guess, because it does make it easier. And then turn right around and say, but I hate the craftables. Why do you care about the percentage? I don't know. Because the fact is the earning percentage will get you to board faster. But I think we've pretty much figured out that if you're just going in and doing nothing else but clearing your gate and a couple of other things on every day, every day 4 times a day, which takes literally 35 seconds. 35 seconds, folks, to clear your gate and get those guys going again. You're going to get bored. So chillax a little bit on that. And anything that's, close to 25 to 30% bonus increase is more than enough to do what you need. That's the way the math works out, just so you know. So don't freak out about not having 35% right now. And actually 35 is the cap, by the way. I did bring that up in a comment yesterday. It would seem like it should be 40 because it was 20% and then it should be 40. It's 35, but everything that you're storing up will instantaneously jump as soon as we go to Act 3. So
yes,
it works. All works the same.
Josephine Kickass, aka Grandma Madar, says the corners with the smoke are the parts I stored, and I didn't think of the zone thing. We'll need to make some of my high animated Krustyland out of that area a little. Thanks. And she automatically hides all the ground when moving. Sandy Toast 74 wants to know if I got a haircut. I did. Thank you. See what happens when we're only on, once a month? Miss a lot of things. Let's see.
Come September, it's going to be a big change.
Yeah. Grandma Madar also says she's got 95% of her NPCs stored at the moment. And Charles says the parade does not stick to Krustyland roads. It seems like to original roads. And Grandma Madar also adds, I'd like to see the item limit raised each time we have a new event proportional to the new content. Yes. Correct. Well, they usually do raise it at least one.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, 100.
Oh, yeah, sorry. That's what I meant, 100.
100, yeah. I mean, in this case, they needed almost go 100 per act because they're forcing us to put stuff in there. But whatever.
Hey, cut down on your flowers, man. Nobody needs that much. Nobody needs that many bees around, okay?
Oxygen. It's all about oxygen.
Trees are okay. I have a lot of trees. But cut down on the flowers.
I know. I'm going to end up having to. I've already started judiciously figuring out how I can go in and prune. Just taking out like a flower here, a flower here, a flower here. So it doesn't really change the overall look.
I mean, all you're doing is increasing the bee population in Springfield. So
we need bees. Without bees, there's no anything on Earth.
Yeah, but you don't need that many bees.
We need bees.
Not that many.
All of them. Without bees, there's no veal, just so you know.
You need all the bees.
That's right. All right.
But if there are no flowers, you wouldn't need bees. Think about that.
No, it doesn't work that way. Go backwards. Go ahead.
All right, so let's talk about real quick what's coming up in TSTO. Even though we're in the middle of an event, we still have 2 things coming up. As I mentioned in the rundown post last week, Pride content is hitting Monday, June 18th. So please, if you are not interested in Pride content, please leave your negative comments at home and don't bring them to me because
I'm so excited about Pride.
And I will tell you off. Okay.
I'm so excited about Pride. This is the
Pride
best.
content's hitting Monday. There will be a mystery box with returning items in it. There's a little spoiler for you. I won't tell you what's going to be in it or how much it's going to cost until it actually hits, but that will be coming Monday. And there will be a new guild deal. So save your donuts. A lot of them. And if you have any history of guild deals, you'll know how much to save. That Pat's very excited about. Pat, if you want to tell people what it is, you're welcome to. Otherwise, we can wait till Monday if you want.
No, I think it should be a surprise, but I'm just going to say that there are only some times in this game where things just line up for history, et cetera, et cetera. This is a great get. This is hilarious. This is one of the ones that I can't even believe they've done because the origin is so obscure. That's the thing. If you go into to how this showed up in Springfield, it's so obscure but it's so cool. It's hilarious.
Be careful, because the last time we plugged something as cool, it was the beginning of this event. So
no. This is expensive. It's ridiculously expensive. Just tell them how much it is so they can say
199 donuts.
199 donuts. But this is one I am going to have in my town. Period.
It's a Gil deal.
So,
it's a Gil deal. What's I like to call them now? Gil gimmick.
Yeah, there we go. This is a good one. This is hilarious.
Then following up Pride, Pride will last a week. So it is Pride Week. So that's why it lasts a week. Following that will be Act 3 and then 4th of July content. So those of you looking for presidents, that's when you'll see presidents, because that's when the presidents always appear in Springfield. There will be another 4th of July mystery box, as well as a new president. And if you look through your character collections, you will see what president it is. That president is not a Gil deal. It's a straight regular store purchase. So it's less than 199 donuts. I don't remember offhand what it is.
Yeah, it's another one I'm going to have in my town for sure.
So that's what to look forward to beyond Itchy and Scratchy Land content. So you will get all your 4th of July content coming back for those of you who missed stuff and looking for it. Pride content will be coming back for those of you who missed stuff and looked for it, and both will be coming back in mystery box forms. One thing you'll notice with this event, there is not a lot of returning content in the store. All the returning content is pretty much stuck to mystery boxes, which is nice. It's a lot easier, a lot better for everyone else. You get such a great rate on mystery boxes. You take a little bit of a chance and you get a better deal. So that's kind of nice. And it's less should I buy posts I need to write. So
there you go. It is interesting to me that they've got quite a few items that are premium, which I'm not even getting all of them. I mean, some of the stuff are like, I don't remember that character. It's not worth it. In 2 months, will I still care? No. That's kind of my new thing. In 2 months, if I'm not going to remember who it is, I'm not going to buy it. At the same time, there's the whole, I don't know if we're going to talk about this at all, but the new model of getting something, grandma's buckler, basically, you got to pay some big bucks. And I'm going to say it, $20 is too much. $10 I got. $20 is too much. I'm not there. Even though, yes, I've justified it by saying if you waited, you got 2 for 300, blah, blah, blah. $20 is too much. I'm not. They're going to run into a slap back on that.
Well, they're trying it. That's what it is. Svengali was a good deal. Svengali was $10 plus bonus donuts. That was a good deal.
Right.
But listen, I said this is the direction we're going to head in months ago.
Yep.
And it's just going to continue to happen. And they're going to continue to test the envelope, just like the price for donuts. Not the price for donuts. The premium price of things. They're testing the limits, to see who buys what and what they'll buy, what they'll spend donuts on, what they won't.
This is marketing 101. This is where you test to the
farmer.
Yes, so, it is. Well,
all circles back to donut farming.
It is definitely part of that, which I am part of the problem now.
But no, I think EA intentionally allowed it so that they could do things like this. They can raise prices. They can do specials, because it probably will entice people. People who farm donuts are people who wouldn't normally spend donuts likely anyway, or they'd spend maybe 99 cents on a scratcher. Well, now they're trying to entice them to spend $10 on a character. You know what I mean? So.
Well, what's interesting to that point is that even back in the heyday of the game 3 years ago, when everything was smooth and everything was wonderful, EA was pretty overt about the fact that less than 2% of all players spent nickel one on the game. They wouldn't spend anything on it. So they're basically being subsidized by 2%. I think what they're doing right now is, again, marketing 101. You're going to the point of price resistance. They're going to keep pushing it up until it goes, that's too much. Now we'll back it down to whatever that works. And so, we'll see. I don't think we're going to see a lot more of the $20 deals. I think this is the one that's going to bite them in the face. First of all, no one really remembers who Moss Buckler is. They know
I bought it.
Well, of course you did. But I don't, $20 is too much. Sorry. That's where I draw the line. So.
All right, let's jump to, before we wrap up, we'll jump to our thought-provoking question, which was, In honor of Father's Day tomorrow, which TV dad, cartoon or not, would you most like to have for a dad and why? Pat?
Mine's one of those out there ones that most people probably wouldn't remember. It's the dad from, oh my God, my brain just went completely dead. What's the thing with Kevin and,
Arthur?
Yeah. No, from, oh my God, Wonder Years. Hello.
Oh.
The dad from Wonder Years. He was kind of a hard guy, but he had a heart of gold. And then in the end, he died of a heart attack, and it was just like heartbreaking. And the deal is that he walked that line of being the reasonable, pragmatic guy, but he always, really cared for the family and did the right thing and kept everybody in the loop. Those are the kinds of dads I like. That's like my dad was. He wasn't really a hard guy, but he definitely kept everybody together on that pragmatic side.
Mine would be Mike Baxter. From Last Man Standing, because multiple reasons, but one, it's Tim Allen, and Tim Allen I adore, and Tim Allen was also Buzz Lightyear, so I love Buzz Lightyear.
There you go. He was actually funny in Tool Time. He was a good dad in Tool Time. He's hilarious.
I'm a big fan of Tim Allen. So yeah, Mike Baxter, even Tim Taylor. I take either one. Let's see. Charles says George Jetson, because I would be in the future and flying with cars and robots, or with flying cars and robots rather. Peter Bleak says Andy Taylor, down to earth, good guy, always willing to listen and learn, strong sense of morals and values.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Fred says Herman Munster.
Okay. Okay, Fred.
Amy says, besides Homer, my favorite TV dads are Mike Brady from the Brady Bunch and Danny Tanner from Full House, because to me, they're true examples of how fathers should be, in my opinion. Let's see.
Sorry. Homer's a doof. Homer's a doof of all doofs. So, anyway.
Sandy Toe says, if you watched Clarence, Chad would be a fun dad. Frycat222 says Charles Ingalls is my favorite TV dad / TV husband. And I think that's all of them.
I need to throw one more in that should be self-evident, but when we watch Father of the Bride, having just had two of those real experiences in real life, Steve Martin really is kind of the atypical father for me. He's he can't believe that he's letting his daughters run his life, and yet he can't stop himself from letting his daughters run his life. That is me. That's basically who I am. Yeah, anyway.
A couple more comments just to wrap things up. Josephine Kickass says she wants the Duff Pavilion. I'm assuming in a mystery box. It's not coming. Dylan says, doesn't that mean we should boycott the new character prices?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, that's what the point of price resistance means, is that some people say, no, I'm not going to pay that much.
I'm not a big fan of boycotts, quite honestly. But some people refuse to buy a character until it comes back, because it comes back as a cheaper price half the time anyway, or 75% of the time anyway. So,
I mean, again, Marketing 101 says that some of the companies that are going out of business right now are doing so because all they did was discount. So there's a place where you have to make enough money to keep it going. And in my case, I mean, let's go back to the other analogy. It may be that we're having lags because they had to terminate Raul. Maybe Raul is the only guy who knew how to fix it. Let's bring back Raul. Pay the $20, but I don't.
Somebody yell at Bob.
Yeah. Yeah, please, somebody.
All right, so that's going to be it from us. It was a couple weeks off, so we had a lot to talk about. So we ran a little longer than we have been, I should say. Our next episode will be in July, but the date is going to be TBD. I've got to kind of figure out everybody's schedule, but it will be the only show in July. So, and then August. We'll probably do one show in the beginning of August, is my guess, and then we'll figure it out.
That's going to get interesting.
Then it will get very interesting. So happy early Father's Day to all the dads out there. Happy Father's Day, Pat.
Thank you.
And do you have anything else you'd like to add? I will let him know.
No, I think that Father's Day is one of those things that gets exactly as much attention as it should. Mothers really have a way more way more involvement. There's way more going on. They actually birthed the children. So it should be like a giant event. Father's Day, don't get your husband a tie, or a wrench or something. Just give him some time to do what he wants for a while.
I can say this because my husband doesn't listen to this show. He's very supportive. But I bought him a big bag of candy.
There you go. Do something that's fun. So we're going to golf tomorrow. We're going to go to brunch, and we're going to go see a movie. Oh, by the way, just a second, as an aside. So we went and saw the scariest movie of all time that's supposed to be the scariest movie of all time. I keep calling it Heredity, but it's Hereditary. It's scary, but it's not as scary. So if those of you who are
scarier than Hereditary Genes, let me tell you.
True. Anyway, it was funny. But so tomorrow night we're going to go see The Incredibles, and that's supposed to be, more up our flavor, more up our alley. So there you go.
Love Pixar movie.
Yeah, there you go.
So I wanted to add one more thing before I forget. If you notice, I'm a little brighter today than I have been because Fred, everyone's favorite Fred, who is obsessed with how we're all lit because he's
a theater guy. He's a theater guy.
He's very concerned. He sent me a light. So I guess he got tired of not being able to see my face clearly. So he sent me a light. So thank you, Fred. I appreciate it. It's a little hot under the light, but I'm good. It could also just be that I'm very pregnant, so I'm just hot in general. But
no, I'm going to say this, and I don't know if everybody else agrees, but between your haircut and the lighting, you've never looked so good. You look lovely today. So,
thanks. And then next time I'll look like crap, so we're good.
No, just don't forget the light. It's the magic light.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if I turn the light off, which don't mind my arm. See how much darker I am now?
It changes everything. Put the light back on.
Magic.
Look at that.
So thank you, Fred, for the lovely gift. It was a nice surprise. Waiting on my doorstep when I got home, and he worked with Patrick on that one. So thank you. So yeah, that's it from us. Unless you have anything else you'd like to add, Pat.
No, that was all Fred. All I did was just say, yeah, you got the right address. That was it. So he was all down.
Creepy, but,
No, I think I think the thing is that we're all going to get through this. Chillax, relax. Even with the lag, you can play the game and get everything you need to play by just tapping a couple of things quickly and getting the heck out of Dodge. It has definitely made the game less fun for a while, but that's all right. We'll get through it. We always do. It's just a game.
Yes,
have fun.
It is just a game. So on that note, we will see everyone next month. Enjoy the rest of your June. Enjoy your 4th of July. Everyone's going to have a 4th of July because July is always July 4th. So if you live in America, enjoy your Independence Day, even though it's on a Wednesday. That's kind of but enjoy the content coming. Enjoy the rest of Itchy and Scratchy Land, and we will see everyone next month. Bye-bye, guys.
See you guys.